Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, September 25th, and this is Blinkers Off. What is up, dude?
Yeah, what's up? September flying by. Holy cow. I can't, it's almost over. I think we had a sneaky good week of racing coming up too this weekend. So should be a good show today and should be a good weekend.
Yeah, all the focus was like kind of on next weekend being like that last push of the Breeders' Cup. But then you look at this weekend, you're like, yeah, this is pretty good too. Racing across the country, Santa Anita, Belmont, the Big A, Churchill, not official Breeders' Cup preps, but might as well be. Santa Anita again on Sunday. So yeah, across the board, good racing. Of course, next weekend we're going to get to, all the big turf action and some of those races. We got Keeneland coming up, and we've got all, the racing is starting to really unfold here, and we're not that long. I mean, we got a couple, like 5 weeks till the Breeders' Cup. I mean, it's that, talk about September flying by. The fact that we're talking about Breeders' Cup now, and I mean, like, we've talked about it for a while, but like legit talking about it it's here. I mean, it really is.
Prep season is almost over, and that's crazy to think, but it is this week, next week, and then it's pretty much done. So yeah, it's almost here. I think we're heading towards a pretty good one. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. There's always kind of last second things, and this is kind of, we're getting into the time of year where you see those defections start to happen. But yeah, overall should be good. I think really these last couple of weeks we'll learn a lot about 2-year-olds. That's kind of the case, what 2-year-olds look good and who doesn't really.
Yeah.
And then look, I mean, you said, hey, we got some races that aren't officially Breeders' Cup preps but have major implications. And looking at you, Rebels Romance there in the Joe Hirsch Classic.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about those a little bit as well. So always good to kind of see some familiar names, some names that won last year are popping up and running this weekend. And that's what you want to see. You want to see the stars.
Is the 2-year-old, both male and female, is that the Breeders' Cup? I mean, there's a lot that are still kind of open, so to speak, but like, are those the two where you're just like, as far as the juvenile fillies, you're like, I have no idea. Like, I really don't have even a feel for it. Or are you kind of an idea? I mean, obviously it's out west this year, and you've got Baffert and some of those 2-year-olds, and those 2-year-olds are still healthy for Bob Baffert. So you got to think they're going to run well if they run there, and we're going to start seeing those horses kind of which ones are going where. But are those two divisions kind of, you still have a lot to work to do?
Yeah, I think so. The problem is with those divisions, like you've got a pretty good idea of who you like and who you don't like, but none of them have been the route of ground that you want to see, and that's the most relevant data point because that's what they're going to be running at the Breeders' Cup. We've seen a lot of 6 furlong and 7 furlong performances, but as we all know, as we sit here and listen to this, going a mile and a 16th is very, very different, and so. We did see that at Churchill Downs. They went a mile, which that gives you a little bit better indication, right? But we need to see the Breeders' Futurity. We need to see the American Pharoah, and we need to see the Champagne to get a better idea. And the same thing equivalent to the Philly races as well of those. And we're going to see that, and so I think that's why next week is super important, and the turf equivalent of those races as well. Because, again, you just don't have a great idea, especially on the dirt, on the stretch outs. I know the turf, we've seen some mile and 16 races so far, but the dirt, you got to get a better feel for them. So that makes next week super, super important. Because, look, a horse can be great going 6 or 7, and you get excited, and they may even have a pedigree that says they can go 2 turns. But until you kind of see it and see how that unfolds, you're still kind of in the dark. And so, yeah, those are the divisions right now. Future Stars Fridays, if you will. I just don't have a clue at this point.
Yeah, that's always a tough part. And then you have horses like a Fierceness who had the hype and then didn't run well and then ran off the screen in the Breeders' Cup. So it's always hard whenever you're trying to figure out that, unless you have a horse that you just have going into the juvenile, undefeated, has been Dustin Fields and has like at least somewhat of a, maybe not necessarily a pedigree of it, but has ran a mile race and looked good doing it or whatever, you're like, all right, I this horse. But when they're running 6-7 furlong races and you're not sure really, and then they haven't been winning by the margins maybe you'd like, and then you get to the juvenile, it's hard to back one of those horses at particularly what would be who was the horse, was it last year or 2 years ago for Chad Brown, that horse that should have not been he went towards the Derby trail for a hot minute and then was back to the sprinting. God, who was that?
You talking about Jack Christopher from a couple of years ago?
Jack Christopher's a good one. It was
Chancer. You talking about Chancer McPatrick from last year?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, he looks really good, but right. I'm not sure and obviously the distance became a factor, right?
Yeah.
So that's the hard part, is kind of that balance from a 2-year-old, because you don't have the data points, like you said, to kind of to figure out, hey, this horse is really good, and this horse may not want to go this distance in the Breeders' Cup.
Right. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and I agree, and I think really when we first started this back, let's just say, 2012 or 13. 2012 was one of our first kind of Breeders' Cup where we really covered it for the actual website. It felt like these last 2 weekends, not determined all of it, but the preps were crazy for all the divisions, right? Everybody prepped the classic horses and everything. It was such a big weekend. And then literally like 2-3 years after that, it's like, oh, they're prepping in the summer now for the Breeders' Cup. They skipped this last round. And so these last 2 weekends that used to be just massive and you couldn't wait for them, it's not really, I mean, let's be honest, it's not really the case as far as that goes. They're still really good racing, but it's not like you're not, like, for example, Fierceness and Sovereignty and all those type of horses, they're not running on this weekend, right? But the juveniles have stayed where it's massive, and you have to pay. I mean, you really need to pay attention, and you have to kind of break down what's going to happen. And it does feel like the big horses are all running. So the juvenile division has stayed that way. The others, it's just kind of hit and miss. Like I said, we do have Rebels Romance. That's exciting. We have Johannes, a horse that's going to be exciting as well. Straight No Chaser. So you've got a few, right? But some of these other ones that have been running a lot this year, they're not running this weekend.
So, like, just to kind of go through some of these last several years, you get like Citizen Bull, Fierceness, Forte, Corniche, Essential Quality, Storm the Court was crazy price, Game Winner, Good Magic. I mean, that was a good year, even though he was not the favorite. He was obviously a liked horse. Nyquist, though, is like a horse that came in being like a very popular, very like, this horse should be really good. Essential Quality was the same. So sometimes it's like you have the Essential Qualities and the Nyquist type horses. Even a Citizen Bull at that time last year was pretty good, although that race was a little bit, there was a lot of horses in the race. It looked like Fierceness kind of was. Forte was very good going in, had won the race before at Keeneland. So, I mean, Citizen Bull last year was liked. Gaming was more liked, right? We got second that day. So, but there was a lot of options last year in that race. It kind of felt like, I think East Avenue was the favorite, I believe, and didn't run at all. But so I guess my point is there's years where it's like, okay, yeah, Forte looks like really, really good. I don't see how he doesn't run well. And then there's other years where you're like, well, I don't know. I like these horses. I just don't know if they're going to run well here. And maybe it's like, hey, I really liked, and that was a little bit like the year for Good Magic. It was kind of like, I think that horse is really good. I just don't know if he's going to win here. I think he might be more, into his 3-year-old season. So kind of the balance of, and there's a trend. We always do the 14 trends of the Breeders' Cup, a trend for each race. And one of the big trends each and every year is kind of how well this race has produced Breeders' or Kentucky Derby starters, right? Not necessarily winners, but the start. So it's a good race for future production as 3-year-olds. So with the 2-year-old picture being wide open, it will give us a clear picture, or at least it'll give us more information as we relate to the 3-year-old season. Speaking of 3-year-olds, though, real quick, Bieza wins finally in the Pennsylvania Derby last week. I mean, he looked awesome, right? He finally got rid of Sovereignty and Journal, those horses, and he got his big win that he probably deserved about as much as anybody in the country as far as that division goes. What'd you think? Did it solidify how good Sovereignty is, and journalism really for that matter? Or do you think that it's Bieza could be coming into his own and maybe he could maybe make it interesting in the Classic?
Yeah, classic version of me overthinking a race a little bit. Really not proud of that pick at all, of goal-oriented. Even though he ran third, Baeza should have been the pick. I regret not picking him. I'll say that right off the bat. But that being said, yeah, Baeza was super, super impressive. He did what he needed to do. I think Hector Barrios is a very, very good rider for him. I think he just fits him better than Pratt fit him. And I think he's given him really good rides and given him opportunities to win those big races that maybe Pratt just didn't, honestly. That being said, though, look, I think it's more of a debate of, hey, can Baeza hit the board in the Classic at a big number? More so than, hey, can Baeza win the Classic? Because Sovereignty's still right there, and I just don't think he can turn the tables on him. And yeah, it does reaffirm how good Sovereignty has been. That's, if you're a big Sovereignty fan going into the Classic, you like to see what Baeza did. I was also just kind of happy. He kind of deserved this, right? He deserved a grade 1 win, and he got away from those 2 big horses, and he just won it pretty easily. I love how when he turned for home before he was in the lead, you just kind of knew it was kind of over. Like, he was running so much better than everybody else in that race. And so, yeah, stupid pick by me not to pick him. And I thought he was just fantastic in the race.
Well, to be fair, and I know I've seen, I saw the other videos you did and you harping on it. I mean, to give yourself a little grace, I think, it wasn't that, at least this is how I felt. And I think you did too. Like, it wasn't, I mean, we both really liked Bieza and certainly thought he had a big shot to win. It was more for me price related, right? I didn't want to play him at a short price when he hasn't, won a race since then, since his maiden. So I mean, to me, but yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, he was a no-brainer. In the far turn, I was like, oh, this is over. Like the way he was passing those horses. I was obviously watching Gosker, who I picked. That was a great, you feel bad about your pick. Shit. Gosker just never ran, which was pretty shocking because he's always been a horse that even when he didn't win, he ran well. Like, so I think he just, my best guess, something happened, something minor with him, or maybe he didn't like the track, but he never really ran, frankly. You could tell he was struggling. But Bieza looked awesome. Honestly, though, I'll make it simple. As soon as they crossed the finish line, my mind went straight to, holy shit, Sovereignty is awesome. Like, I literally, I think that's like my first thought. It wasn't how good Bieza ran, which he did, but I just immediately was like, oh wow, like Sovereignty just makes this horse look like just average in these other races, and he just dusted the Pennsylvania Derby field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's me as well. I thought, wow, I mean, he just killed those horses who have been running pretty well. Gosker didn't run well at all. I know that, but goal-oriented ran okay. In that race, and just wasn't any match. Just got past like he was standing still, and Sovereignty's kind of done that to Baeza. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I don't want to talk down on horses that win races, but as far as the Breeders' Cup is concerned, I don't really think last week played much into it. That goes across the board. But again, I do think Baeza, he deserves a lot of credit, and I think, look, he deserved to win one of these races, and he got it. And, to the point on the price point that you mentioned, and I'm with you, like, I have to be fairly confident to bet a 7-5 horse. I got to feel like they're kind of a standout, right? And that's where the mistake I made. I didn't think Baeza was a standout going into the race. So I have no problem with like how I played it, because if I look at it and go, okay, I think Baeza and goal-oriented, they have a pretty similar chance of winning the race. Well, I have to take the 4-1 on goal-oriented, right? But, once it's over, you look back and you go, well, that was a pretty dumb decision, because the reality was Baeza was a standout. Yeah. You kind of just misread the situation. But, I get what you're saying, though. It's easy to go back and say that after it's over. Going into it, I wouldn't have said that. So, but no, for as far as the Breeders' Cup goes, it was kind of mid, right? Baeza was not mid, but he's kind of mid compared to the horse he's going to have to run against, right? And then the rest of the races, whether it be Parks or Gulfstream, or even there were some at Churchill, It's like, yeah, I don't really think those are Breeders' Cup winners.
All it did to me is confirm that from a 3-year-old department, obviously, we haven't seen what Sovereignty can do against a Fierceness or Sierra Leone or even a Mind Frame. If you want to go there, Forever Young, if he comes over, those kind of horses we don't know. But from a like leader in the clubhouse, who's very much the clear horse to beat, and for the biggest test for these older horses, it's Sovereignty. It's like I didn't look at it. I don't look at it like journalism is, pretty good too. I mean, that's the thing. It's hard. This is such a tough year for a horse like BA's in journalism because, gosh, they've ran so good, and yet all we do is anytime they win and run well, all we do is say, well, Sovereignty's that much better, and really it's like it's hard to. It's not like we have one race sample size to go off of. I mean, we've had all season to go off of that, and so I mean, it's just. I can't remember a year, I'm sure it's happened, where it's like, it's just every race so clearly defines the top 3-year-old race horses. Each year, like all year, even when they run all 3 in the same race, it's like, oh yeah, they run 1, 2, 3. It's Sovereignty, Journalism, Bieza, Sovereignty, Journalism, Bieza, then Journalism, Bieza, Journalism, Bieza. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so clearly that's the order.
It's interesting because you're right. If you took a horse like Baeza and you put him in, let's say the year White Barrio won the Breeders' Cup Classic, he would look really, really good in that race. Last year was a tough running, but I mean, the point I'm trying to make is let's say half the years you put Baeza in those classics that are a little bit weaker, he would look very, very good. The problem is we had good horses in it last year, and they're all back. The 1, 2, 3 finishers are all going to be back this year. Plus, we have Sovereignty. Plus, we have journalism. And now it's Baeza, and it's like he's been the third best in his crop all year. And now he has to go against these older horses as well. And it's just such a tough situation. And the thing is, even if you think now that maybe he's caught up with journalism, which I could see, I think, I could see that debate. He still has to now go another jump to Sovereignty. And by the way, journalism, who we think's really good, he really wasn't a match for Fierceness. And we've seen Sierra Leone beat Fierceness, or when he doesn't beat him, run very close to him, even when Fierceness runs his best race. So it's just like, man, Baeza is just so up against it here. This is a high caliber, high quality, improving horse, and he still has more to go to get to that top level. And that is just a bad luck for a horse that's pretty damn good. And if he raced White Barrio that day in the Breeders' Cup Classic, I think Baeza could beat a horse like that. But it's hard beating these horses this year.
Yeah, for real. And I'm with you. I think Baeza has closed the gap with journalism, and I think also just based off of how much journalism ran and like kind of you could tell maybe he's starting to he is tired, and whereas Baeza feels like he's kind of, I don't know, peaking's the best word, but he's certainly getting into the form he probably could, because horses like him and even like your horse Goal Oriented, where it's like, man, these two have been just thrown into the fire. And you look at, and that was one of my big knocks against Goal Oriented all season, where after it wasn't like the typical Baffert way to get him to the Preakness. He went straight from an allowance to Preakness, Haskell, Pennsylvania Derby. That's where he went. I mean, that's like talking about throwing him into the fire. And then same with Baeza, goes straight from the winning this maiden to, oh, let's go to the Santa Anita Derby, let's go to the Kentucky Derby, and all he's done is huge stakes races against the absolute best horses in the country, the 3-year-olds in the country, and so these are horses that I would say the same about Goal Oriented. We don't know how good they are yet, because I think they kind of had to, like, it's almost like when you get a football player or whatever a rookie gets thrown into the mix, you're like, oh shit, I got to figure. I mean, he's very good, but you got to figure. He's got to kind of get his bearings and figure things out a little bit. And I think that's what these horses are having to do, that have kind of been just tossed into it.
I do like your point on journalism. He kind of feels like a robot. He has ran the same race every single time this year. You know what I mean? Like he's triple digit buyer. He's not ever going to go too far north of a triple digit buyer. He's not going to go under it. He's going to I'm in that range every time I'm going to run my race. and it seems like he's just a straight line, but that straight line is high. But Baeza is just kind of climbing, and has he climbed over the straight line? That's the way I kind of look at him. Where he feel, other than the Belmont, where he was a mess in the paddock that day and everything kind of went wrong.
Yeah.
His other races, he's just slowly getting better and better and better. I think I would probably pick him to beat Journalism at this exact moment. Now, again, the problem is Sovereignty, Fierceness, Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Okay, you got past Journalism. Now you've got another mountain to climb, So anyway, we could say it all over and over, but some horses are born in the wrong year. Him and Journalism both might be just that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe if Sovereignty retires at the end of this year or after, early next season, I don't know what their plan is for sure with him, but if maybe Baeza can take advantage of that and become a big, 4-year-old. But we'll find out. Obviously, the Classic is starting to take more and more shape, and Baeza being in the race, Journalism being in the race, and obviously Sovereignty being in the race against these older horses is only going to make the race more interesting and really more bettable for whatever side you're on. So I do think it is getting closer and closer to being a very, very exciting race. So more on that coming up. Obviously, we have some Breeders' Cup action this weekend, Breeders' Cup Classic action, I should say. So let's get to it. We got top picks and analysis technically there's 5, but we're going to go over 7 races on today's show that do have 5 have legit Breeders' Cup implications because they're Breeders' Cup Challenge races. The other 2, the Lukas Classic and the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, not official. Don't ask me why the Joe Hirsch isn't, but official Breeders' Cup races. But we will have implications for both those Breeders' Cup races as well from those whoever wins those. So we're going to go to the Belmont of Big A. We're going to go to Churchill Downs, Santa Anita. All races included, including the Goodwood Stakes, which was a different name. What was the name last year? Like the California Crown or something?
Yeah, they tried to do like a Pegasus World Cup type of day, and it did not work out. But it was the California Crown.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's the Goodwood? And then I looked at it last year, and I remember this weekend, I was like, oh, that was that. I think we did a betting Bible for it even.
We may have. I don't really remember. I think it. I don't know. I don't know why they only tried it one year. I guess maybe it was just a disaster. But I remember they tried to make it like an elite day. Just it doesn't work.
Now it was $1 million race too.
Yes, they tried to do that as well. And it's just the timing's just weird. That's all there is to it. It used to be the Awesome Again.
Yeah.
And then now it's the Goodwood after the California Crown. I don't know.
Anyways, whatever you want to call it, it's running this weekend. We'll have more on that coming up. Let's go. Yeah, what's the Goodwood?
I don't know.
I mean, I just always think of Goodwood being that track overseas.
Goodwood? Was there a track overseas named the Goodwood?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like where is that race or where is that track? It's like I think it's in England or something. No,
I don't know.
Someone will tell me.
I just don't follow it enough overseas to talk intelligently about it. I know Dubai, and that's it. So
I think maybe they may not be. I don't know. I assume it's still open, but I know that Goodwood would show up on like the Breeders' Cup Challenge races.
Yeah, now you say that. You're right.
Anyways, but yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "They're running Goodwood." And I was like, "Oh, it's at Santa Anita." And I don't know. I don't really know where they. I don't ask questions. Just whatever. It's always good to have good wood.
That's right.
That's what I've been told. I don't know anything about that though. Yeah, so we're gonna rapid fire these guys. Not really rapid fire. I mean, it's gonna be like the slow version of rapid fire.
Yeah, right.
Because there's just too many to go. But obviously 7 races to talk about. So we'll go through them as much detail as possible, but also as quickly as possible, if that's possible.
Some are easier and quicker than others, So
yeah, some of them isn't like I mean, a couple of them don't have huge fields. There's one. The Woodward is going to have like 3 horses, I think, is what I heard.
Oh, real? They're all going to scratch?
Yeah. Well, which race is it? What number is that? So the Woodward, I heard Willie D's is scratching. Obviously, he's going to run. He is confirmed to run at Churchill.
Okay.
and there's a bunch, as you guys can see, if you guys pull up the form, there's, also entered either the Delaware handicap.
Okay.
And I think I heard it could be as low. I don't know which ones are running, but as low as 3 that could run in the Woodward.
Oh man, that's gross.
Yeah, and it's like the Woodward used to be like an epic race. I mean, it was like one of the bigger fall races that we have.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Fall racing is I don't know. It's just not like it used to be.
All right, guys, time for the Breeders' Cup Challenge Series Rapid Fire Edition presented by Stable Stakes. More on this coming up next week, guys, but stablestakes.com. Check it out. I can't give away too much yet, but I can tell you some we will have some stuff coming up in the next week or so. Next week, make sure you tune in to Blinkers Off because we will have a lot more information on Stable Stakes. And we have a contest that we're going to probably be launching. Can't say officially yet, but I would say very likely, where we're going to have a ton of money on the line. You can win money, like legit money, as you play Stable Stakes, as you play with us at Stable Stakes, and leading up to the Breeders' Cup. So it's going to be a ton of fun. You don't have to be in an eligible state. It's all like anyone's eligible to play, and we're going to have cash prizes on the line. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Stablestakes.com. You can go check it out now, but wait to sign up until the contest launches, and then it's going to be a lot of fun for the next 3 weeks. So that's all. That's the only spoiler I can give you guys, but I'm just saying, make sure you wait. Make sure you join us on Discord. We'll have more information on Discord as well, and then the promotions will start running out. But stablestakes.com. It's like horse racing meets daily fantasy. That's basically what it is. It's a ton of fun. I've played it. I've been playing it since, I think it was a Travers, wasn't it? We were playing around with it.
Yep.
And I've been playing it since, and it's just a blast. I mean, so you get to, for a lot of people who are being very frustrated with the payouts and the will pays and the computer wagering, all those things in horse racing, this is a very fun alternative to where you can still get the action you want. I mean, Shoddy's been all over it. She's like, I think their number one customer now. Shoddy, I'm telling you, like, it's going to be a ton of fun, and like legit, like I think the number I was hearing is it's upwards of 10,000 plus in cash prizes throughout the thing. So let me tell you, like, these guys are wanting to make a splash in horse racing. I believe, Halterman, I know you believe, like, this is something that is needed in the sport. And they're willing to kind of put the money where their mouth is to see and hopefully showcase what they have. And Shoddy's making money already. That's the thing. Like, I'll see, like, I'll check my contest and I'll be like, oh wow, I made $10 or whatever, because it's just there's a lot of payouts even if you get, say, 10th place or whatever. So it's a ton of fun. Make sure you go check out Stable Stakes, and more on that coming up next week. All right, Halterman, race number 4. We'll kick things off here at Santa Anita on Saturday. That is the City of Hope Mile Stakes, Grade 2, 200K, 1 mile on the turf for 3-year-olds and up. It is a win and you're in for the FanDuel Mile. Field of 6 shows up here. Even money on Johannes. Probably deservingly so, but wasn't so good last out. Do you just draw a line through that race at Saratoga, or what are you thinking here?
I mean, is Rispoli going to ride like an idiot? If so, he may not win here either, but I think he will ride better because he usually does here at Santa Anita on the turf. Listen, Rispoli had a tough day, a few tough days this year, and this was one of them. A horrific ride last time out. It was a tough spot for Johannes anyway last time out, coming off the layoff, going all the way to Saratoga to run on the 4-star Dave. Look, only got B5 links despite the rider last time out. I think runs a much better race here. Really, really tough to beat, obviously, on this turf course. Johannes all day long for me. Chalk to start it off for me. I like the 3 quite a bit in this spot.
Yep, I'm with you. Listen, not only was that race, 6-month layoff? No, it was like 8-month layoff. But it was going all the way across the country to Saratoga in a Grade 1. And you had the dead weight Rispoli on your back to boot that day. And so, yeah, I'm with you. Johannes, you said it's really hard to beat on a turf course. That's not even accurate. It is not possible to beat on this turf course because he's 7 for 7 lifetime at Santa Anita turf and 4 for 6 at this distance of the mile distance. And really, if one of those you want to count is that race at Saratoga. So 5 for 6 at the distance. So with 1 second. So I mean, I expect he'll run huge here. Nice rebound effort after that last one. Sucks to get even money here, but there's just really not, that was the other thing too, Halterman. There just wasn't a lot here to kind of sink your teeth into as far as like, hey, if that horse does not fire again, I like X, and it was kind of hard to get there with any of them, in my opinion.
I thought the 5, Almendares,
Yep.
I like that one. I think that's a logical alternative if you don't want to play the favorite. Or if you want to play the favorite and do a straight exact 3-5. I like to do that more so than, hey, if I love a horse on top, well, let's just take a shot to try to beat it. I don't really like to do that. I like to go more the straight exacta route with a 3-5. I thought the 5 makes sense. And past that, I would be pretty surprised if somebody else wins this race. I think it's between Johannes and Almond. Let's just say the 5 horse, Almendares.
Yeah, I really like the 5 as well. The issue, aside from the 3 being in the race, the issue is this horse is 5 years old. It's ran a lot of times and has never won a graded stakes race.
Yep.
Just it always runs well. Like it's always in the money. 18 lifetime starts and has ran 5, 5, and 3. Just runs well pretty much every time. But you look at ran second last out in the grade 2. The Kilroe ran 4th. I mean, it was a good 4th, right? Most of these are all, last year in this race ran second to guess who, Johannes. So it's it's one of those horses that if maybe for whatever reason the 3 isn't, something happened, just once again is not good, then yes, I think the 5 is definitely the most logical contender. But it's going to mean what I just said. In my opinion, I don't see both those horses running well and the 5 still winning. So that's why I still am on the 3, Johannes. And, listen, probably deserves to be in the Breeders' Cup after how good of a horse this is. So especially considering it's out in his neck of the woods. All right, let's go to race number 9. And that is the aforementioned Goodwood Stakes, grade 1, 300K, 1 mile, 1 1/8 miles for 3-year-olds and up. And it is an official, some of these are not, but this is an official Breeders' Cup winning or in for the Longines Classic. So here we go. We got several Bob Bafferts to pick from. We've got Full Serrano, who came back and looked Full Serrano-esque. And then you've got, you've got First Mission in here at 8-5. I'd let you decide if you want to play that.
I don't. I went the number 7 Full Serrano in here. Look, I think the race last time out was exceptionally good. Obviously winning the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile was very good as well. Pacific Classic, he broke my heart that day. I had him picked on top. He just couldn't hold on. But that was going 1.25 miles. This is 1.125 miles. I do think the mile is his absolute best distance, but I think he can go 1.125 miles and beat this group. I just don't think this group is all that good. I don't really trust any of the Bafferts fully. It wouldn't be shocked if Baffert wins this race because it is a big dirt race in Southern California, and that tends to happen a lot. But I like Full Serrano here. I thought he was very, very good last time out. Now, he should have blown out that field, just an allowance group, but he did what he was supposed to do. I think he takes another step here. I really like 7 Full Serrano in the spot.
Yeah, let's not forget last year, this is a horse that came within a half length of winning the Pacific Classic. Now, it was not the greatest Pacific Classic of all time. But then let's also not forget the horse came back to win the Dirt Mile and did so rather impressively. So this is a horse that, other than going 1.25 miles and damn near winning the Pacific Classic, has never lost here in the United States. And to run that well off of that breed, we literally hadn't seen the horse since the Breeders' Cup and ran earlier this month. So to run that well off that layoff, I think is going to be very, very tough to beat. And I'm with you, the Bafert horse. I mean, the Bafert horses in this race are just not awesome, right? I guess there's reason to say Well, other than gaming, like you'd have, even if you had a gun to my head, I'd just say shoot me before I pick gaming. But like you, Pridman and Nevada Beach, I guess you could make cases for, like, just meaning like it's Bob Baffert. If they continue to run well, like they've ran good races, right? That yeah, you could see it happening. It's not like it'd be insane, but they're not. It's not the typical Bob Bafferts you're seeing in First Mission. I mean, listen, First Mission could definitely win. It's First Mission, but I love the way there's a lot of speed in this race, and even Full Serrano's got speed. But drawing outside, I think he's going to sit just the best trip here, where he's going to be able to kind of breathe down whoever wants to go, and then when it's comes time, he'll just go around him.
Yeah, the biggest indictment of these Baffert horses is Hernandez was on the 3 and on the 5 last time out. And really, yeah. I mean, let's face it, when you see Bob Baffert, it's Hernandez out in California right now. That's his guy, unless Flavian Pratt just happens to be in town, and then Hernandez is the second guy. But he's not on either Baffert horse, and he's on Full Serrano, and that's a pretty bad sign, in my opinion, for the Bafferts. Look, if you're going to bet one, I think Nevada Beach is the one. I don't trust Pridman in this spot at all. So I think Nevada Beach makes a lot of sense here in this. I also think this is a horse that's going to come from out of it a little bit. And, I think you're right. I do think there's going to be a little bit of pace in the race, but I don't fully trust, all three of these Bafferts, really. But yeah, I guess Nevada Beach is where I would lean out of the three.
I'll say this, like, well, I guess the question is for you. Do you think even if say Full Serrano wins here, it's a win you're in for the Classic. This is the dirt mile defending champ. Do you think, I mean, we don't have much to go off with this horse because he's so lightly raced over here in the United States anyways. What do you think they'll do with him? Do you think they'll try the Classic with him if he were to win here? Or do you think that they will go dirt mile again?
Well, here's what's interesting about that question. I mean, obviously, I think you would think dirt mile right off the bat, but I don't know if you noticed, but so we Jared and I do vote in a Breeders' Cup Classic poll every week, right? And what it is, it's like there's a drop down menu that you can select horses from. Full Serrano was in the drop down menu this week. I noticed that. Now I did not vote him in the top 10, but I thought that was interesting. They kind of know who's pointing there and who's not. So that kind of tells me that they've kind of been alerted that Full Serrano could go to the Classic. So that is very interesting if that happens. I think if he wins here, I think they might try it because, listen, you can go win the dirt mile, okay, but the Classic's the main thing, right? And if you've got a horse that's qualified and you think he's doing really, really well, I think you give it a little bit of a shot. So I think it's 50-50.
I think First Mission goes, I mean, unless I think he's in the class going to the Classic kind of regardless, unless he just runs absolutely awful here. Because he's just kind of that horse. But I do think, and I don't think a lot of them either way, but with Full Serrano, I'm with you. I think they'd go to the Classic. And then I also I don't know. I just think he's a very talented horse. Like, you can tell that. He's obviously a Breeders' Cup winner. He's very good. I think him entering the Classic, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, here we go. Like, this is like, he could win this thing. But I don't know. Like, he's interesting. And I do, at the very least, he'd be a very interesting pace horse in the race because he is a very quick horse and could prove to make this thing be a little bit more give that pace a little more in the Classic, especially if, say, they decide to run like Magnitude in the race, although he ran off the pace in the Pennsylvania Derby. That's a whole other thing. But like, if you do have some more speed in the race, like he could really solidify that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I don't think he's good enough to win the Classic, but could he get a desired trip that makes him good enough to hit the board? Possibly. You know what I mean? It's hard for me. Like, the one data point we have at the Classic distance was the Pacific Classic, and like, that race ain't coming close, right? So he's got to assume he's going to be better. But look, if he wins this one and he does it pretty impressively, give it a shot. I would rather go Classic than dirt mile, assuming he wins this race. Now, he may not, and then you could always back up and go to a dirt mile and be fine. But if he wins here, go for it.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm on full Serrano as well, so I think he's going to win here, and we'll see what they decide to do after that. All right, let's go to Belmont at the Big A on Saturday as well for the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic Stakes, Grade 1, 500K, 1.5 miles on the turf. It's not an official Breeders' Cup when you're in, but it might as well be for the turf for the Breeders' Cup, because you got to assume, especially a horse like Rebels Romance, who's defending champ, might be pointing that direction. Small field of 5 halterman. I mentioned Rebels Romance. His stablemate El Cordobez came in and won last time. He's back. Redistricting isn't bad. Rebel Red isn't bad. And then Farbridge is, he's got his moments for sure. So it's not a bad small field, but it's not bad at all. But you think anybody can upset Rebels Romance here?
Look, I think it's possible to beat him. It is a prep, and maybe, he doesn't run his absolute best. He doesn't have his rider, and maybe that could be a factor that he gets beat as well. But on paper, he's just better than this group. I really don't see anybody I'm too concerned with. I just think if he runs his race, I think he wins this one. Of course, a Breeders' Cup Turf winner 2 out of the last 3 years. And look, after he won the Breeders' Cup Turf last year, he's been great. He's won 4 out of 6 races overseas. I am just very, very, very excited for Rebels Romance. I've always loved this horse. I love when he comes over. So number 3, Rebels Romance on top for me. I do have some interest in the number 2 redistricting. I love that Flavian Pratt stays aboard. He could have rode El Cordobez. He didn't do it. He sticks with the Chad Brown horse. Probably was already committed to ride, and that's part of it. But still, Pratt will do a good job here. I know that for sure. So I think it's kind of a straight 3-2-1 for me in this spot. I think redistricting is going to get the lead and take him a long ways, but I do think Rebels Romance will get him in the end.
Yeah. If there was no, I really wanted to pick the 2 for a couple of reasons. One, just the price. I think 7-2 is a nice price on that horse, all things considered. But Rebels Romance is a little dangerous, and I think if the 2 runs his very best, he'll make things interesting. Let's put it that way. But Rebels Romance has just been awesome. 7 years old now, and you really look at the form. Since his win at the Breeders' Cup last year at Del Mar, of course they're going to try to defend that. And gosh, I mean, he just has not missed a beat as far as coming out of form at all. And he ran 3rd at Ascot. He won an Ascot race before that. He won a Group 1 last time out in Germany. Like, he's just kind of still that horse, right? And even at 7 years old. So I think Appleby, at first I was like, well, why would he run him if he's got that, the 1 in here as well? But it's like, I don't know if the 1 was supposed to win last out, and he did. And now he's going to we'll do that. Run him here again. Rebels Romance is the horse, and I think they're going to have a tough time beating him. And honestly, in a division that we'll see who's coming in overseas, that's always the biggest question mark from the Breeders' Cup standpoint. He's probably going to be a legit favorite, assuming he wins here.
Yeah, I agree with you, and should be probably going to be 8-5, 7-5 if he wins this race. Even if he doesn't, he might be that as well. He's exciting. He was a horse at Keeneland back when it was there. I mean, my goodness, he ran so good that day, and then he kind of fell off form a little bit, and then he came back last year and won it again. So I'm excited for him, and I've always loved this horse. So excited to see what he does. Glad he's coming over for a couple of races. That's cool too.
Yeah, he was just a little north of. He was sub 2-1, but I think he's like 9-5 or something in the Breeders' Cup last year. So I mean, I wouldn't say he wins here, and no huge huge horses from overseas are going to run. Like, I think he will probably be like that price again, right? In the Breeders' Cup. And man, what a cool horse he's been, because we've seen him, like you said, we've seen him a lot of times. Now I think he's had his moments, right, where he's won the Breeders' Cup Turf a couple times. He's had his moments where he was kind of a disaster over here as well.
Oh yeah,
not necessarily his own fault, but it is still. So I mean, he's definitely not been a horse that has had, just been completely dominant when he has shipped over. But when it seems like these big races, he has been, and that's, for Appleby and that's always been something to keep note of when he brings a horse like this over. Because we've talked a lot about where it's like, well, Appleby sends a lot over now, and it's like which ones are his like good ones, and which ones are like, oh, we'll see kind of thing. And Rebels Romance is one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we're both on him here. Let's go. I want to see what you like in this one. Race number 9 later on the card. The Vosburgh, grade 3, 200K, 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds, and up. Field of 9 shows up here. It's a win you're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And, well, you tell me, Halterman, because it's not the easiest race to figure out. 5-2 on Scotland, 3-1 on Crazy Mason. I don't know how much confidence you have in either one of those.
I don't. I don't have any confidence in either of them, really. Wouldn't be shocked. Don't want to take them at a shorter price is kind of how I would describe that. Gosh, I kind of went back and forth here for a while on this one.
I'm going to need, hey, listen, I need you to tell me what to do here because it's not, I'm going to listen to you.
I went number 4, Doc Sullivan on top. Kind of my thought process was this horse got to Johnny Ortiz 2 races back, was able to win, went to the Forgo, didn't run all that poorly in a pretty tough race, got 4th, beaten 2 3/4. I just kind of felt like maybe he's a little bit of the up and comer, so to speak. He's not really, but with the new trainer, he's ran a lot better. I kind of like Doc Sullivan in this spot a bit. It's a toughie. I thought about the number 8 Patriot Spirit a little bit. Nash, honestly, for a second or two, thought about it. Just can't do it. So give me the number 4 Doc Sullivan.
All right. I want everybody to just stop what they're doing, and this is going to be a moment in time because I'm about to pick a horse that I didn't think I'd ever pick ever again in my whole life. And that, and honestly, this is either going to look really, I'm going to be like a genius on Saturday, or I'm going to be like, dude, you are just such an idiot for picking that horse. And that's that's the number 2 Nash. So listen, I don't have a lot to say about him. He's had races where he looks awesome, right? Like, I don't think anybody can argue that. There's been times where he looks like he is really bad, really, really bad. And, the times, like, you look at the Vanderbilt last out, he terrible at the start and then never ran really. The Woody Stevens was bad, another bad start. This race, I know on paper it's a graded stakes race, grade 3, but it's a tough race. I mean, to make it, it's certainly a race that I think he can win. He ran a 108 Beyer, 2 back. That would be definitely enough to win here. I don't think you're going to need to run over a 95 to 100 to win this thing, and he can do that. He also wouldn't surprise me if he finished 6th in this race. So he's an all or nothing play for me. I'm probably going to use him on top in a lot of things and not anywhere else because I do kind of think he's an all or nothing type play. But, Brad, he's been working at Kentucky. He's been working at Churchill Downs a lot. And, he could have ran. You would have maybe thought maybe you kept him out there and ran at Keeneland next week or something. Shipping him here after running him in the Vanderbilt, but how poorly he ran. So he's giving him another try. Pratt's aboard. Just it's possible. That's all I can say.
What Beyer did you said 2 races back he got a 108?
Yeah, that allowance race, he got a 108 Beyer.
Wow. Who was 2nd and 3rd in that race?
Harrodsburg and Discreet Mischief. Neither came back to win.
That's
the race before that where he ran really well again, or prior, I should say. World record won that day, if you remember that at Churchill. He ran up 94. Okay, so he improved. He improved his Beyer 14 points according to that. His good races, even the ones he's lost, but he's ran well. It's in that 90 to 95 department. Okay, So
Could
the
win.
108 is 1,000% an outlier. Now, the Vanderbilt last out, it was a 78. That was a disaster. The Woody Stevens, that was a 69. That was a disaster.
Nice.
So those are the outliers. The other outlier is the 108 buyer. And so I think 89 to 96 is very much possible for him. And if he does that, he's right there in the area. And then here's the other thing: he's 6-1. Scotland is going to be 2-1, 5-2, wherever morning line. Like, I just want a little bit more price, be honest.
The more I sit here and think about this, the more I look at this, I kind of think Scotland is just a little better than these horses. You may try to be forcing a price because you don't want to bet Scotland at a short price.
I know.
Boy, these horses, I'm going to change. Give me number 1 Scotland on top for me in this one.
Somehow my ability or my attempt to talk Nash into the winner's circle, I actually somehow talked him to Scotland. Scotland, to your point, Scotland finished second to Bookham Dano last out. Crazy Mason finished third that day. Yeah. I'll say this. I like him a lot too. And honestly, what took me off of him though, well, one, I don't like playing him at a shorter price because he was like 11-1 that day, 5-1 the race prior. He didn't win either one of them. But they need to figure out how to get this horse into the race earlier. Like he comes flying late and it's just too much work to do. If he can get this horse in some sort of tactical position and still have that kick, then he could be dangerous. He's got coming in off a bullet work, but man, he's so far back that even as well as he looks in the stretch. Now on the flip side, he doesn't have to run down Bookham Dano, so there's that. There's no Bookham Dano anywhere close to the Bookham Dano in this race. So, I mean, that certainly helps. But he's also another one of those horses, dude, that just hasn't really figured out a way to win these bigger races. So,
could Like the Way get loose?
Yeah, that was one that I think if I had the stones, I would take a shot with, especially with Carmouche. Like I could see him, getting loose and them coming in. None of these horses are very good. Patriot Spirit was another one I was interested in.
Yeah. On
the front end, maybe, but just Crazy Mason. I fell for that one before.
Me too.
Again, it's very similar to Scotland, where they just gives himself way too much to do at the end of these races. Do you know if Super Chow's running here or not?
Yeah, I know the horse is cross-entered. I haven't seen. My thought on Super Chow, it's Madison Oliver as the jock. I don't know. I can't take that horse serious, honestly, and maybe tells me that this horse might scratch and run elsewhere. If he does, I think Like the Way could get loose, maybe take him a little ways. I am not going to be shocked if Nash wins. I just can't go back to him. I just can't. But now look, you said it best. I thought the best point you made is, yes, this is a graded stakes race in terms of that's what it's labeled as, but this is not. This is an allowance, basically, right?
Therefore, it's funny how the last race was not a Breeders' Cup race, and this race is a Breeders' Cup race.
I know, and so you look at it and go, well, shit, Nash could do it for sure. Yeah, I can't do it, and I didn't feel great about the Doc Sullivan situation either. I'll probably just put that horse in second, put Scotland on top.
This is one I think we've kind of confirmed here, regardless of where you guys are ending up, that it's one you need to go deep in, and it kind of sucks. That's just one of those races that sucks for me, is because, and maybe you disagree because you ended up changing to Scotland, who's 5-2, but it's like, man, you could go really deep in this race and he wins, right? And it wouldn't be that shocking because then you're like, oh shit, I went 6 deep in the 5-2 shot win. On the flip side, you could go 6 deep and you could see, the Nash winning at 6-1, or even like a Patriot Spirit winning at 5-1. There's that as well, and you're like, so it's kind of one of those, you got to make a choice here where you're either going deep or you're just assuming that Scotland is good enough to win and play him at a short price.
I haven't made the final decision yet on those. I'll do that in the morning on the sequences. I think 148 as I sit here is what I'm looking at. I maybe throw in the 2, but I don't think I'm going to go deep enough to get, Light the Way if Light the Way wins. And I think Crazy Mason is an underneath more than a multi-race play. So.
All right. Well, there we go. So that's officially the toughest race so far we talked about. I think this race might have something to say about that. Let's go to Churchill Downs now for the Lukas Classic. Another it's a non-Breeders' Cup race, but this has been a kind of a prep for the Breeders' Cup Classic in years past. It's race 10 at Churchill Downs, the Lukas Classic, grade 2, 500K, mile and 8th. For the 3-year-olds and up, and you got a field of 7 lining up here. 5-2 on Mystic Dan. Now the big news here is Fernandez is going to be out for the foreseeable future, so I don't know who is going to replace him on for McPeak on Mystic Dan. You also have Rattle and Roll in here for McPeak, Hit Show in here, Willie D's and Banishing, Disarm, and the whole group is here. Alston, where are you going?
Yeah, this is a wild and wacky one. There's no doubt about it. This is a crazy race. Look, I agree with Mystic Dan being the favorite. I think he's done enough to deserve being the favorite, especially here at this track. I just can't play him to win. I just can't do it. I think this is going to be such a fun race of horses that are all pretty average. I ended up on the number 2 Hit Show, and what a wild horse this is, right? This was your typical grade 2, grade 3 type horse. Won the Lukas Classic here last year, but you never really took him serious as far as, hey, this is a horse that could go win a serious race. And then he wins the Dubai World Cup at a huge number back in April, comes back off a layoff, runs 5th in the Stephen Foster, and then becomes the first horse and undoubtedly, in my opinion, the only horse to ever win the Dubai World Cup, and then in his second start after, run at Mountaineer. That's right. This horse ran at Mountaineer last time out. He won. It was a hell of a race between him and kind of not really a local horse, but kind of a horse that kind of runs in those smaller races named Not This Boy, who's a very nice horse, by the way. Anyway, big race there. Got the job done and won. This is a tougher one for sure, but I'm not sure how much tougher. I like Hit Show in this spot a little bit. I also like the 3 Rattle and Roll. I just worry the layoff. Like, we haven't seen this horse since the Dubai World Cup.
Yeah.
Might need one, but that's why I went Hit Show on top.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Mystic Dan and Rattle and Roll both love this track, at Churchill Downs. That's obviously a good reason why McPeak's, wanting to run him here. He's almost never missed the board, Rattle and Roll here, but yeah, the layoff is very concerning of how he can run off of again since April. And then with Mystic Dan, I mean, shit, this horse, you mentioned the other one running ahead Mountaineer. Well, this horse ran the Arlington Million last out, and it's like, what is he? It's an interesting kind of path to get to this race, and I respect the hell out of Mystic Dan. I expect he'll run well. He kind of always does almost, but. I don't know. I couldn't quite go there. And then now with the news of who's going to ride him and all those things, Banishing, I thought stole that last one I thought that was the mile and 8th race he could actually win considering kind of the track layout, and Willie D's didn't beat him. So I kind of bypassed on both of those two here. Disarm is a perennial kind of, runs okay in the bigger races sometimes, but they can't win. So all that to be said, I'll get on board the Hit Show, I guess. I don't love him, to be honest, but he's ran well most of the time, and this is not like a special race, even though it's labeled as one, but it's not necessarily a huge race, So I thought he did the right thing. He won somewhat impressively last out. Like he fought, and he got a little gritty and won that thing after kind of bouncing big time. I thought, and the Stephen Foster wasn't good that day, and that's for what it's worth. That I don't know what happened in Dubai. I can't explain it. But to me, the Stephen Foster is kind of in the area, and we've seen it before, right? He's been beat by worse horses where it's like, that was the race for Mind Frame and Sierra Leone, and for even First Mission, I'll beat him. this is the kind of race he can win. I don't think he can win a race. I mean, I say that he won the Dubai World Cup, so I guess anything's possible. I don't see how he could do it, but I guess it's possible. He did finish 5th in the Kentucky Derby when he couldn't even win the Oklahoma Derby. Speaking of,
let me tell you how hard Remington Park is to win races there. This horse was 6th in the Oklahoma Derby back in 2023, and then he can go over in Dubai and win. So that
by the way, he was 7th in the Cornhusker.
He sure was. Well, it's tough to win up at Iowa, So.
Nothing like going off and winning. Can't you finish 7th, beaten by? Let's see who beat him those days. Oklahoma Derby. How did he do that? Red Route 1 beat him that day. The Cornhusker, Red Route 1 beat him again.
Sure.
I mean, a horse has been beaten by Red Route 1 many times and wins the Dubai World Cup. Explain that one. By the way, Oklahoma Derby this weekend. So
that's right. Hey, honestly, that Oklahoma Derby is a really, really fun race. Really,
Coal Battle or Publisher? Where are you going?
Oh, neither one. Not going either one of those two. That much I can promise you. Asmussen's got another one in there, kind of like though. So,
all right, go to the website racenews.com. Look at the Remington Park picks. I'm sure Altman will have those. That's Sunday, right? It's usually Sunday.
Yes, that is Sunday. Very excited to follow along there. Won't be going this year, but excited to kind of follow along. Bracket Buster, the second place finisher in the Travers is there. Coal Battle, like Jared said. Publisher, the maiden. Yes, he's still a maiden. Iron Dome, a horse that has really, really ran well up at Saratoga, will be in it as well.
All right, we're going hit show here together. Yep. Solidarity, buddy. We'll go down together with that one. Let's go to Santa Anita now on Sunday. So two Breeders' Cup races, one for the distaff and one for the sprint. We'll kick things off with the distaff race. Race number 7, the Zenyatta Stakes, grade 2, 200K, mile 16th for the fillies and mares, 3-year-olds, and upfield of 5. This is the Baffert horses, basically 3 Bafferts and O'Neill and Mullins. Which Baffert horse are you going with here? Again, it's a Breeders' Cup winner in for the Longines distaff. Number 3, where are we going?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cavalieri on top in this spot for Bob Baffert with his top rider, Juan Hernandez, on in this spot. Cavalieri, kind of a fun horse, just a really good horse. 4 straight wins. Haven't seen her since March. I'm not worried about that so much. Baffert, pretty good off layoff with horses, so not too concerned about the layoff here for Cavalieri. So give me the number 3 Cavalieri in the spot. Like this horse. And listen, Bob Baffert at Southern California, still pretty damn tough to beat the last time I checked. Boy, outside of California, Jared, I'm not sure anymore after what we saw at Parks, but right here at Santa Anita or at Del Mar, he's pretty darn tough.
Yeah, I wish that we had like Seismic Beauty in this race. That would make me feel a little bit better, but yeah, I think this is a horse to beat. I like her as well. Richie will be interesting here. Certainly be a pace factor. We saw that the last time they raced. This horse goes out to the lead, and then Cavalieri does run her down. She's ran once since April, and that was last month in August, and finished 3rd to Seismic Beauty. Wasn't necessarily close, but has ran 3 straight triple-digit buyers. Cavalieri did run a triple-digit buyer last race where she beat Richie. So, I mean, listen, I'm with you. I think she's the one to beat. I think the pace will be set up, and she'll come run and go get her. But for whatever reason, I do think Richie is interesting in this race. If for whatever reason Cavalieri is a tad bit flat in the race, but yeah, give me Cavalieri. Torpedo Anna. We'll see that. By the way, that'll be interesting to see what Brian Hernandez can do if he can get back for her in the Breeders' Cup. But any threats to her or any others out of this one, you think? I mean, it does help that they're local.
It does help that they're local for sure. I don't think so. I'm not real excited about anything that's going to come out of that. And look, you got Torpedo Anna in that division. Like you said, you got Seismic Beauty, who's very good in that division as well. So not so much this race for me.
Seismic Beauty, to me, if you made me pick, would be the horse I would probably use to beat Torpedo Anna.
Ooh, like it. Okay, all right.
There you go. There's a little bit of a hot take. All right, race number 9, and the last one we'll talk about here, the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, Grade 2, 200K, 6 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up, field of 8 lined up here. More Bafferts to talk about. Speedboat Beach, who I thought maybe be dead after that last one, and Imagination, also a horse I thought was dead, coming back. Do you have any confidence in either one of these? And if not, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm not sure on either one of them. Speedboat Beach, a horse that just obviously cannot stay healthy. A little bit overrated, I think, too, in a way. Could win here, though, no doubt about it. And I think we'll set the pace in this spot, in with a shot. Imagination, very interesting horse as far as where this horse shows up here. I thought this was surprising, but
January, bro. It's been January since we saw this horse.
I know it's very interesting. He shows up here, and I was fascinated with this. Hernandez is on Imagination.
I know.
Now, did he get the boot after that last race? Possibly. I don't know. So very interested there. Interesting, I should see there as well. All that being said, forget all those Bafferts. Give me the number 2, Straight No Chaser. I love this horse. Always have. Give me this horse. I don't know. Off of a layoff. It's a long layoff. May not be ready to roll here first out. But I think if he is, going to be awfully tough. Look at this horse when he got to Dan Blacker. Won this race last season before winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint and also winning the big sprint there in Saudi before not running well at all over in Dubai. And obviously there was a reason. Something happened that day, got hurt or whatever. Now we're back. Good spot. If he's ready to run, he's the best horse in the race. So give me the number 2, Straight No Chaser.
Listen, okay, a couple things. I not playing either Baffert here. Let him beat me. That's fine. I thought Speedboat Beach was awful. He's been awful 2 straight starts now. He may just have too many issues. I'm honestly surprised he's here. Dr. Venkman, man, he's nice. He's really nice horse. Like he's solid. He runs kind of his race pretty much every single time. The problem for him is he's not good enough to beat number 2, Straight No Chaser. I absolutely love Straight No Chaser here. I think he curb stomps all these horses, just runs them into the ground in this one. The issue, right, will be we haven't seen him since what clearly was some sort of a mishap that day in Dubai. You never know how they come off of that. But look at this, the horse's form, man. Like when this horse is on, he is absolutely on. Like, I mean, coming in, like he's one of them like 7 length races, he won this race by 6 1/4 last year. He went 21-44. Like these horses don't have that kind of speed that are in this race. And really he's going to go to the lead. He's going to freaking fly. And the only way he gets beat is if he doesn't have it. Right. As far as like the layoff and whatnot, but this might be the race to take him finally, you know what I mean? Because off that layoff, you're probably, you're going to get the price, at least good enough price, I think, to play him. You have a couple Bafferts. You got Dr. Venkman, who came in and won the Power Brian last out. So you maybe have some betting options there, and maybe this horse off the layoff, you get some sort of a price. John Velasquez back aboard. This is a regular jockey. I love him here, man. I think he's the real deal. And listen, there's another horse. We talked about Rebels Romance earlier in his race. Here's another horse that I think with a win here, hard to say, even though we haven't seen him since April, if he wins here, he's the defending champion of the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He'd have a lot to say about repeating again.
Yep. No, I think that's very, very, very well said. And I think it's a very important race for what you just said. Can Straight No Chaser get a win here and be in position there for the sprint? We've also kind of heard that Bookham Dano may not come over. And so if that happens,
sure,
all of a sudden this is a really important race, right? Because I think Bookham Dano 6 furlongs is really tough, but may not come. So yeah, huge race here. I'm with Shoddy. I forgot about Imagination until I saw him.
Well, as a former owner, aka fantasy owner, I wanted to forget him, but I couldn't. This horse did win the San Felipe and got second in the Santa Anita Derby. How about that? That's insane.
Yeah.
There was a moment where he was like 4-1 in the Preakness, even, and
yes.
He's never really sniffed much since. But I'm a little surprised.
There was a moment, I won't name names, but there was a moment a friend of ours was talking all kinds of shit about how this horse was going to dominate the Preakness. That did not happen. And he really hasn't dominated or done anything at all. I thought he was gone. I've said that about Baffert entries probably a half dozen times this year. I remember when Hijazi entered, I about fell off of my chair. I was like, Hijazi, really? Like, he's still around. That's wild. And there's been other horses that I can't even remember. There was one other one recently where I was like, wow, that's 18 months, and that was Nysos earlier in the year as well. So anyway.
I would like to see the stats. Like, I'm just kind of throwing this out as I think about it, so let me get the right wording. But I'd like to see the stats of Bob Baffert horses off of, like, say, 6-month plus layoffs from horses, like the comparison of like a Nysos version, meaning they're winning, but like got an injury, right? Like dominant kind of horse, or even like what was the horse that ended up going to Todd Pletcher? Life is Good. Horses like that who are like really good, but just can't stay on the track, and then come off those 6-month layoffs versus a horse like Imagination, who clearly not very good, then comes off that layoff. Like, because to me, when a Bob Baffert horse like a Nysos, you're like, hey, yeah, like if he comes back, he's he might run well, right? Even Muth ran okay at certain times after. Horses like Imagination, when you think they're MIA and then they come back, you're like, I don't know about this one. This one seems a little for Speedboat Beach, right? I don't know. Like, I would like to see those stats. I gotta think it's very, because we always want to say, well, it's Bob Baffert, like he can win any of these. It doesn't matter. I think there's a big difference between, let's say, an Imagination layoff and a Nysos type layoff.
Yeah, exactly. He brings it back a lot, and you're like, I forgot that one existed. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It would be very interesting to see. He's just, and look, it wouldn't be hard to find. Just kind of start Google searching horses that he's had in the last few years, and they just seem to. They just disappear on you, right? They just disappear on you, but they come back. And May Moon, that was the one I was thinking of. Yeah. I thought that horse was long gone, and he showed up. He ran fourth in the Pat O'Brien. So it's interesting. He's just had a hard time keeping him healthy, and it's been his top level ones. He's just had a hard time. They get a big debut, and then maybe a big second race, and then it's like, yeah, where are they? And you don't see him for a while. So it's been odd. His kind of mid-level horses, they've kind of been around, kind of consistently, but those high-level ones, and that's why a horse like Brant this year, I'm just not excited, because I feel like Brant might run one more, and maybe we'll see him in 18 months. You know what I mean? On the undercard of the Churchill Downs card, so the Derby card. You know what I mean?
Brant's, the way he runs, he's gonna get hurt. No, there's no question.
Yeah, but it's not just him. It's just like, it's like, what do you think, Derby horse? I was like, let's just one race at a time.
Well, you said it. Gosh, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but it was long enough where it was maybe like August or even early August, let's say. And we're talking about all the potential classic field and stuff with Nysos and everything. You're just like, well, hang on, like, let's just wait. It's very early, and lo and behold, Nysos is apparently going to run. Now he's going to run not in the classic, in the dirt mile. I wouldn't count on that. It's just they as soon as you get into one, they go away. Barnes, yeah, thank you. Like, how bad is Barnes now? I mean, maybe it's fair to say he wasn't very good, but then there's also like, well, he did. I mean, he ran well against journalism once. I don't know. Like, was he good? Ryan made a good point the other day. Like, maybe the hype was too high on him early, and that's why we're saying he's not as good as he used to be. Or I don't know. He looked like he was gonna be pulled up of the race the other day.
I was never as high as you were on him. However, I was high on him last week, and the reason I thought he ran exceptionally well at Saratoga off the layoff. And I just thought, well, that's a race much better than what these horses can run. And honestly, for the time period that he actually was running in that race, he looked really good. The problem was he ran about 50 yards in the race. I couldn't believe. So I was at the OU Auburn game, right? And no offense to Parks, but they were running the race in the middle of the game, and I'm not turning it on to watch Barnes or really anybody. And so I
Correct.
got home at night and I was getting caught up on everything. And I knew that he'd lost because my phone was blowing up with that he had lost. So I watched it and I thought, I didn't know where he finished. Like I did. And I thought, oh, like he's hurt. Oh, like they pulled him out of the race. He didn't even finish. Oh man, I feel bad for him. And then it's like, I forget he's out there. And then you watch him and then here he comes on the screen at the last part of it. It's like, well, I'll be damned, that horse ran. So honestly, like he clearly, I shouldn't say clearly, but I don't think he was injured because I don't think you can, trust me, I know those horses weren't that good and they were slowing down, but he still finished hard. So I don't know what that was.
What was it John said, text us? Didn't he get like a high buyer for that technically?
I think he meant Baeza and he accidentally typed in Barnes because he gave us Baeza's buyer, but it said Barnes. He just made a typo there.
Let me look though.
What's that?
I'm gonna look because he usually gives DRF will give like the top 3.
Here, hold on. I'm on the site right now. I can look it up for you.
I don't know what you're supposed to like, and I'm sure because Baffert's like kind of having gone back to the drawing board with him a little bit, where it's like, hey, let's cut him back and let's do this and let's do that, and he's obviously faced good fields, and he, like you said, like Fate ran against really well against journalism, but at the same time, like I don't know what this horse like it's almost like he started off his career. I thought he was pretty quick early on, but he almost looks like he's like a tank and he's too big to go too fast early. And then I don't know. I can't quite figure him out.
So the third place finisher got an 86. Barnes was fourth, but he was closing. So let's just say 85 is what he got for that race.
Okay. Well, never mind.
And I don't know. I don't remember didn't he get like a 98 or 99 at Saratoga, something like that?
Yeah.
And the winner got a 93.
It was in the ballpark of where he had been getting. So
let's say he runs a 98 in the Gallant Bob. The actual winner of the race, Madhouse, got a 93.
Yeah.
So he even could have regressed a little bit off that Saratoga race and still won. But you cannot win a race when you don't run almost the entire time.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, when he actually finished that strongly, I was like, well, I'm really confused because a lot of times horses really don't like parks. It's kind of a weirder track. But if you don't, maybe he didn't.
Which is possible that's what happened. I mean, he just hated it.
But he ran well down the stretch. So did he just get a hold of it late? I mean, that's possible. I have no idea. I was stunned. He was like 5 lengths behind the second to last horse at one time. It's crazy.
I don't know. I really don't know what to do with him. I mean, I know what to do with him.
Well, I'm not,
but I can't say that on air. But he's got to be a pain in the ass for Baffert to figure out what to do with. And I'm sure he was probably hoping to win that one and maybe say, okay, let's get him to the dirt mile or whatever. And I don't know. He doesn't belong in the Breeders' Cup.
No,
but I don't know where. Maybe he runs like points to the Malibu or something. I don't know. Frustrating horse to say the least. Also a former fantasy horse. Him and Imagination, they belong together actually. So that's perfect. Two peas in a pod there. All right, guys. That's going to do it for us. We're on, make sure you check us over at racingdudes.com for those free and premium selections on our product page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button at the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Couple things to remember as we, get closer and closer. One, again, make sure you tune in to the podcast next week. Subscribe to all our stuff. We have more and more information coming up for the Stable Stakes contest that's going to be happening over the span of the next several weeks. Tons of money on the line there, and you can challenge us, and it's going to be a lot of fun, honestly. I say that sincerely. And then as well, the Breeders' Cup in itself, the Breeders' Cup Betting Bible, we'll have that for pre-sale here in the next week or two. Again, we're all hands on deck. I'd say after next week, Halterman, we'll have the Betting Bible preview or the Betting Bible ready to go. 14 Trends will start coming out. That's free. So all those things, hands on deck. It's becoming closer and closer. If you subscribe within the next, I'd say by like next week, then you're gonna get Breeders Cup betting Bible for free. So if you are a premium subscriber, you get our betting Bibles for free. And of course, the Breeders Cup falling in October 31st and November 1st. Anytime it's just goes in 30-day increments. So if you're within that, you get that betting Bible free. So it's becoming a really good time to pay that $70, as low as $70 a month, to become a premium subscriber and get the Breeders' Cup betting Bible, which is $40 on its own, for free. So, all right, guys, we're on Twitter at Racing_Dudes, Instagram, Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off. Make sure you go visit the podcast page, Apple Podcasts, where you like to listen to. We're there. Go to our YouTube page, tons of videos and content. Just search Racing Dudes. Make to hit that like, subscribe, and notification. Dudes Who Bet Sports was on. I was listening to some of it the other day, actually live. I was so bored. I had you guys on. Just kidding. And so Dudes Who Bet Sports with Halterman and his dad talking college football, and then as well, Magic Mike always scheduled for Fridays. That's all I can say.
Yes, exactly. Glad you tuned into the show. What were we talking about? Do you remember? Probably not.
You were talking about the firing a Gundy.
Oh, yeah. Good subject. Yeah.
Good content there. So, again, Halterman and his dad, two guys. It's like, you when you listen enough to, especially with college football.
Yeah.
When you listen to these guys, like Halterman, I've known for literally since I was like 15, and been good friends really since. Obviously, it's pretty well known. Halterman's a college guy. He knows his stuff. And then you see, that's where he got it from, his dad. And those two are a wealth of knowledge. I'm serious. Those guys know college football. It's funny because it's like you get, like 2005 plus versions of college football takes, and then you get like the 2005 previous college. You know what I mean? Because your dad will be like spouting out stuff about when he was such and such in 98 or whatever, and you're like, oh well. And then but it's just really good content when it comes to college football. Now, obviously, it's got to be pretty fun for you guys right now because, man, OU is playing very well.
Yeah, it's been a blast. We've had a couple of really fun games at home. I don't want to talk about the quarterback situation. What happened there? That sucks with the broken hand. He did have successful surgery today. No, that was yesterday. But look, it's been a fun show the last 4 years now, and that show and what like my dad does now with giving out picks and stuff like that. We have a lot of fun during the games, during the commercials, looking and see if we're covering all the bets that we've given out as well. So, college football. I think my dad is number one in the world as far as college football. In his opinions, he went 8-2 last week, by the way. So if you're looking for college football plays, that's your guy. If you're looking for college basketball plays, that's your guy as well. He's fantastic at both of them. And he went 8-2, and like I said, he was sweating out like 6 bets and watching the OU game, and so it's funny to see. Kind of the older generation kind of juggling. How do I get on this ESPN app to check this game again? Hold on. I'll check the score. Yeah, you're still winning. That kind of thing was happening all day and all night. So, it's been fun. And, good shows right now.
If you guys go to the website, just under premium, it's called Best Bets, and it's got Halterman and his dad. I'm on there, but I haven't made one in a minute. But you have Mike Halterman's picks. He gives all his, college and NFL and all that stuff. And all his picks, he gives his best bets. And then if you're looking to tell a guy with college football, I'd say that's your guy. So you can get his picks there, $20 a day, gets all his plays that he's playing each and every day. And all the stats are included with that. Hey, I am going to I went to Missouri State game couple weeks ago against SMU for their FBS home opener, and then I'm going to Mizzou this weekend. So it's like 2 more college football games that I've been to, like in the last 10 years combined. So,
well, hopefully it's a trend, and you see the light that it's 130 million times better than the NFL, and you can continue to go to college games. You're going to Mizzou. Going to be a great atmosphere, a great night game. Mizzou's atmosphere is so much better than it used to be up there. They're a top 20 team. Only issue is they are playing UMass, so there won't be much of a game, but everybody will be happy because that'll be a blowout. But that'll be a ton of fun and a big-time atmosphere. Your Missouri State Bears, I labeled you. I said last week, I know you kind of halfway follow Arkansas. Stop with that. You got a Division I football team that you actually went to school there at Missouri State. Huge game for them within Conference USA this weekend. They host Western Kentucky, who is a power in Conference USA. Big game. Western Kentucky, a 4.5-point favorite there against Missouri State there in Springfield. So that's a big one as well.
I'll tell you what, I mean, they've got Missouri State's got some talent. I mean, listen, not
Offensive talent. Yeah.
I think they will. Well, one, they've got this, like, went to school at Missouri State. I live in Springfield basically. So like it's been, we have been craving something like this for forever. Like when I was in college there, it was like, I maybe went to like 1 or 2 games ever just because no one went. It was just, they were a disaster. Played shitty teams. They were shitty. Like there's nothing good about the program. And then now it's like, gosh, it was electric. I mean, again, it's hard, but SMU was in the playoffs last year, and they obviously didn't play super great. They ended up winning, but I think we had the lead like 10-0 for a little bit, and it was like the crowd was going nuts, and it was a fun environment. And you can tell the city and the university are I think on the upward trend. Like I don't know if they're ever going to be like nationally ranked, but maybe, I don't know. Like but it's just kind of cool to see. It's cool to have that in Springfield.
Yeah, I thought that was smart doing it. I'm with you. Now they're D1 in all their sports. So I honestly, and I told you this, and I don't know if you believe me or not, but believe it or not, the conference they were in FCS is tougher than the conference they're in FBS right now. And for people that don't know, they North Dakota State, South Dakota State, these teams would win Conference USA. So they're actually playing teams that aren't quite as good, maybe minus Western Kentucky. They're probably the best team in that conference. I think it'll be a tough game for them. But look, I would rather take on, teams like New Mexico State and Florida International and UTEP and Kennesaw State and be called Division I than trying to go down and try to, beating teams like North Dakota State.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it's going to happen or if and when it happens, but if they somehow sneak in the top 25 one of these years in a game, and they have a game at home, right? That game will be, or say it's like number 25 MSU versus number 10, so whoever. That game it'll be electric, and like that town, they won't build, like they're going to need to build a bigger stadium, honestly, because the stadium is not big enough if they want to become what they want to become. But that'll be fun, and it was neat taking my son. Well, it was my oldest is his first like organized football game he's ever been to. Like, like this, he's to see them hitting and all this stuff. And I took him down to the field. We have some friends. There's a local Springfield cop, and he was like doing the game and stuff. And so we got to go down onto the field, and he was like, "This is awesome," and so it was neat to take him to that. He's going to go to the Mizzou game with me. Coop's going to, but he's more interested in the snacks, I think. But Cohen will be pumped to see like an actual football. Next step will be taken to a Chiefs game, but it'll be fun. So to see that atmosphere, a night game, a college football night game with a top 20 team, regardless of if they should beat the shit out of UMass, it'll be fun, at least for the first half.
Well, yeah, I mean, as nice as it is for Missouri State to be D1, he's going into a completely and utterly different situation this weekend up in Mizzou. And like I said, they're fired up right now. Again, it won't be much of a game, but that doesn't really matter. Just to have him have that experience is awesome.
One final thought before we leave. I had to say this. It's insane to me to think that after Sunday, either the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be 1-3.
Yeah.
Like if you would have said that at the start of the season, I mean, you would have think there's no way. There's like one of those teams is going to be 1-3. That two teams that are perennial playoff teams, two of the best players in the league with Lamar and Mahomes. I would say it's dirtier. The Chiefs look like Baltimore is 1-3 or could be 1-3, but like if they go to 1-3, that means they lost to the Bills in a game they should have won. They lost to the Lions, they probably should have won, could have won, and then the Chiefs. So I mean, those are 3 good losses, I guess. But man, it's crazy. I mean, both teams are going to have their work cut out for them, especially in their respective like divisions.
I think Baltimore is the better overall team in the game, but it's at Arrowhead and they're Baltimore. And I just can't say it any better than that. This is a team that is specializing year after year in finding ways to lose these big games. So I can't feel comfortable on either side. I think it's going to be very interesting. Wouldn't be surprised if anything happens. It's hard to believe one of them is going to be 1-3. Sorry, after I say this or before I say this, the Chiefs kind of look like a 1-3 type of team right now, but
yep,
I don't have confidence Baltimore is going to beat them.
Chiefs look like I can't remember if I text you or someone. I was like, they legitimately might be one of the worst teams in football, and without Mahomes, they are one of the worst teams in football.
Yes,
like they are atrocious in. Their defense is playing way better than they did week 1. Mahomes is, I mean, dude, it's the stuff he has to do. And even him at the point, he had thrown it backwards twice in the game. One time he literally had to go that, by the way, that's one of the most insane plays I've ever seen. Like it was a completely idiotic move to do it. But the fact that he runs over, strips the ball from the guy and gets the ball back is just insane that it happened. But to even throw the ball, like just weird shit, man. Like I know like we're without Worthy and Rice, but they just don't look something for a guy that's been a fan my whole life. And it's certainly this run. They just, something's off, something's off within the chemistry and kind of that attitude around the team. It's just the vibe feels weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I can't block anybody. That's, I think, the biggest problem on the football field is they just don't. That line is just rough right now. My dad's going to do something, he says, where he's going to go back and watch the games and see how many yards Mahomes is running, whether it be backwards or left or right or of course, straight. Because he's like, I think the guy's running like 2 miles a game, He
has to.
Yeah, it's just like, when is the last time he stood in the pocket and made a pass? Like it's hard to do right now with that line.
Jawan Taylor has to have like naked photos of Andy's wife or something, because how does he have a job? I cannot figure out how this guy, when he's not jumping off sides or false starting, he's holding. And when he's not doing either one of those, he's just getting beat every time.
Yeah.
It's insane that I get you paid him a lot of money to be there, but at some point, I mean, you got to take him out or something. Yes, he's so bad.
I don't have an answer. They're bad. They're not a bad team, because I do think the defense is going to be okay, and they got a great quarterback. It's just
no run game.
No run game, no line, aging tight end who I'm sick of him a little bit, honestly. And the wide receivers are just okay, So
Thornton is turning into a nice player because he has to be, and it's not hard comparable to what he's working with right now. I do think when Thornton and Rasheed and Worthy are all on the field together, they'll be way better for sure.
Yeah.
But it's, if you don't have time to throw, that's still going to be an issue, right?
Yep.
So there's going to be that. It's a lot of off script, and I think it's affected Mahomes' play, and because I don't think he's played as good, generally. And I think it's the fact that he probably knows he's about to die every time he gets the ball, because he's got to completely go off. He just takes off as fast as he can because, and honestly, he's been phenomenal this year. Well, anytime he takes off with the ball, he is. But this year, it's almost like we've seen playoff Pat, because he knows, like we used to, he doesn't run a whole lot during the season. Typically, he'll scramble from time to time, of course. But like in the playoffs is when you see those electric 20, 30-yard runs, you know what I mean? Like when the thing breaks down. Now he's like doing it now because he knows he has to.
Yep.
Because he's going to get killed, and that's the only like literally 3rd and 10. Guess what? He's probably going to end up scrambling for it.
Right. Yeah. No, it's pretty amazing what he's been able to do. And like I said, I think he's having. I've been more impressed with in the first 3 games of this year than since really those crazy first Super Bowl runs. He's been all they've got, and he's really shown it. And I wouldn't give up. The problem I think they're going to have, I don't know if they can win this division because the Chargers are a problem. Like they're there for real. But they're going to be I think they'll still be in the playoffs. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, they think every year they doubt the Chiefs. I think this year, there's certain, Super Bowl hangovers, things like that. That's real. Their schedule certainly is not doing them any favors early in the season and without Worthy and all. I mean, there's a lot of factors against them to start the season, but they've until otherwise, unless Mahomes is hurt or something. I mean, they're going to be in every game, so they just got to find ways to win. And I think that's a terrible take, Kevin. I think he's amazing. I'm biased. I don't watch those games and say, "Wow, Mahomes sucks." So
I'm not biased. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I don't know how you could really say that. I think he's been absolutely fantastic this season. So I don't think any less of him at all. I think what's happened to him, he set the bar so high for himself with the first 3 seasons in the league that now it's like, oh, see, I told you he wasn't very good. And then you look down, like last year, for example, it's like, this guy didn't have that good of a year. His stats were better than anybody in the league. You know what I mean? But it's just like he set the bar so high that, now if he regresses at all, it's just that kind of thing. And then it's also a situation of, I think people are so sick of the Chiefs that now it's like they're so ready to say this guy sucked and this guy sucked. I told you so, because they won so much. And then let's be honest, they've beaten your team so much. Whoever that team is, they've beaten you. And that's when you get true hate for a team, right?
That's when you know you've made it, when every team, every other team, every other fan hates you and thinks you're, same thing. I mean, I remember being that way about the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
You get annoyed with them and gosh, anybody else but them. And, and
so, so if you're a Cincinnati fan, if you're a Chargers fan, a Broncos fan, a Bills fan, the Bills hate the Chiefs, I think, more than anybody right now, a Ravens fan. And I'm talking about, these are big fan bases, right? And there are a lot of people, and that's why you get that hatred towards them and everything they are. And that comes with being great. I mean everybody, Brady sucks and Brady this and the Patriots and piss on them and all this stuff because they just kept winning and winning.
What's funny about like you said, like Kevin's point, I know he's just trying to kind of rage bait me, but every statistical category from the first 10 years of their careers, both Brady and Mahomes is dominant of every statistical category. The only thing that he's dominant of is the amount of Super Bowls they've each won, and it was 3 in their first 9 years or whatever. Other than that, every statistical category, he's dominant. And so to be like, oh well, he's just couldn't perform with a bad team like Brady did. Well, I'd argue he has.
I mean, I'm not biased, and I don't particularly care for the Chiefs. I don't hate them, but I don't pull for them either. And I just, if you're going to get on the Chiefs, I think, and again, I come from a gambling standpoint more than anything else. I just look at it and go, man, they really don't have anything around this guy, on offense right now. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Then look, I mean, I think Tom Brady, he was unbelievable. If he's the benchmark, even if you could just match it, I think you've done unbelievable, right? So, look, I don't think it's a quarterback problem in Arrowhead or in Kansas City. I don't really think they're needing to replace the quarterback. I just think they need to kind of retool. They got a little old too, I think, in some spots. Again, looking at Kelsey, he's not the difference maker he used to be. When you got a great tight end, it can open up a lot of things, and you don't really have to double him anymore. And I think that's kind of a problem as well. So, look, but again, they're 1-2. It's a 17 game season. I wouldn't be too worried yet.
It's weird too. Cause it's almost like, how it's not like the first time we've seen him on the sidelines getting after, whether it be other players or even Andy or whatever. Like, and Andy plays it off. He's really good at playing it off. Like, he loves that and all this stuff. But like, you can get away with that when you're elite and putting up the numbers and you're, you know what I mean? You're backing it up. But it's almost to the point now where it's like, he's like frustrated that he can't do those things. And it's coming out in a negative way, I think, when I watch it. And I think to like it putting out a bad vibe to the rest of the team whenever he starts. I don't know. It's almost like he's upset with himself that he can't do those things anymore. And it's coming out that way.
You know, I asked my dad about this because my dad coached for years and years. And I asked him about it, you know, and he said, well, look, I think the way Andy Reid is handling it publicly is exactly what you're supposed to do and what you need to do. He said, but if it was me, we would have a long talk privately.
Yeah.
And I would politely tell him, if you ever do this shit again, we're going to have a big problem because you can't keep undermining the coach in a public arena like that. I don't care how mad you are or whatever. You have to control yourself. And if you want to get in the locker room and do this, go ahead. You can't keep doing this shit, right? And it's one thing if it's, you know, a huge playoff game, we're in the Super Bowl, but we're week 3 of the season. You can't keep doing this shit. And I'm sure they are probably saying stuff like that privately.
And he's one of the leaders of the team. You know, he's obviously been there forever. He's been there longer than Pat has been, and you know, he's supposed to be looked on like kind of the compass of, and obviously Patrick is too, but like of like the guy that like kind of keeping everything in check and like we got this and all that. And then like when he's over on the sideline screaming and hollering and bumping into his coach and whatever, it's like it's just again, it's just I think it's compounding what is already kind of happening on the kind of the vibe standpoint of the Chiefs. You know,
it does feel like there's some internal struggles, and that's just from a very far distance. But they're not as cohesive as they used to be, and I think that comes with winning too. I think you see that, you know, you win and you haven't really ever won before, and you get one and you're just happy, and then, you know, those egos kind of spread out a little bit, and that could be a lot of it as well. But again, we played 3 of 17 games, right? Yeah. I think they'll be fine. I'm not worried about them.
What I do think is so funny, and this is just an example of how the media can make everything either blow up or whatever, is let's see, 4 games. Well, prior to 4 games ago, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's the best. He surpasses Brady as the best of all time, right? Yeah. He's the first ever to do 3 in a row. First quarterback to take his team to 3 straight Super Bowls. He's gonna, you know, that's enough to say, all right, we can say he's the GOAT now, or whatever, because everybody wants to say he's the GOAT or whoever's better, just like any sport. And they get blown out, right? That's fair. They did, and now all of a sudden something's wrong. He's not the guy anymore, or like there's issues, and it's like, okay, well, one game changed him going from the greatest of all time to he's not even the top quarterback in the league right now, you know, like it is funny. And I think to your point, and I'll end it like this, like to your point with the bar being the GOAT.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if you know what I mean? Like it's so high that when it doesn't hit it, oh, something's wrong.
Right.
Know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's just kind of the world we live in, though.
And here's another thing I'll say for this year. He's their best running back, right? Like
easily.
He's actually their best running threat as well. So he's kind of having to wear both hats a little bit too. I don't know how many yards he's rushed for this year. I feel like he's got to be over 100 already, right? I don't know for sure. Right?
Oh, dude, he had 70 in like the Chargers game, I think, or whatever. Which one of those games he had? He had like 60 or 70 yards in the first half.
Looks like he's got 125. He didn't run for any last week. 125. So he has
dude. He's the leader in the NFL in rush yards through 3 games, over Lamar Jackson, over Jalen Hurts, over Baker, over Kyler, over Josh Allen. He is the leader of that and he has 2 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, has 4, but those are all tush pushes. Yeah. But he's the leader in the NFL in rush yards.
Wow.
For quarterbacks.
So he has in his career, he's ran for almost 2,500 yards.
Yeah, and he's number 13
year,
in the league in pass yards. So,
right.
There you go.
I mean, that shows you that he's, what he's done with his feet and this. I mean, that's been very important this year for sure.
Yeah, that's why all his Chiefs fans are. You hold in the playoffs. You're like whatever because you leave it all out there. But when you're running like for your life, when you're averaging, 50 yards almost a game in rush yards as a quarterback and running for your life, it's concerning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I would think
game 3, and we're already, we're already having to rush for 50 yards a game in order to stay to stay in the game. It's crazy. So, hopefully, I don't know. I think I don't know what to do about the run game. I think that's a whole other subject matter. They haven't had a run game for a while. Pacheco,
I wish somebody would explain to me why they don't go get a back, but whatever.
There's two. I mean, listen, there's two aspects to it. One, they don't have. He's not. I don't know. He's not very good. And two is Andy and Nagy or whoever refuse to run the ball. They just will not set up the run game at all. And maybe that's because they don't believe in Pacheco and the fact that they have the ability to do it. But I would think as a running back, you would need to get you want reps, right, to get kind of going in the game. And it just feels like one drive will have 3 or 4 runs that are pretty decent, and then you won't see a run again for 2.5 quarters or something. And you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't feel like I don't know. It's and they are he throws 2 yards down the field every play. It's just the offense is just I don't know. I'm not a big Nagy guy, so
I always thought that that was the big separator in their offense when they had a great running back. It took them to a different level. Now it's not just Chiefs, just anybody. You put a really good running back in that system, that it makes it that much tougher to defend. So, but
yeah,
they don't.
It's so Patrick ranks, which is pretty insane. There's only 32 teams. He ranks 40th in the league in time to throw.
Yeah. Wait, 40th in the league?
Yeah.
There's not 40 teams.
Well, I'm saying because there's been multiple quarterbacks and stuff to that to that nature. But that's the whole point. Is there's so many players ahead of him. For instance, I don't know, look at who's had a good season. So Justin Herbert, is averaging almost a second more than he is to throw the ball. Which is. Again, it goes back to the line. So there's only a handful of quarterbacks even that have even played this season, let alone. So yeah, the line is. I'm telling you. I mean, watch the games. It's pretty easy. They do.
I think I watch the games, and I don't think it's the worst line in the league, but I think it's bottom 10. Yeah, I do. Tampa's line is bad. The Saints
Tampa's is really bad.
Saints line's not very good. Raiders line, not good at all. There's other Texans, their line's terrible. There's a lot of bad offensive lines, but the Chiefs are right there.
Oddly enough, and I don't know if it's so young, right? The season. But oddly enough, maybe it's the Raiders just because obviously Ginty has nowhere to go. Bengals offensive line is insanely bad.
Oh, Bengals, yeah.
But Geno ranks number 2 in time to throw with 3 seconds. So I don't know if it's just the run blocking is that bad, but he's actually the second in the league in time to throw. So
I don't know. You almost question the stats because how many times did they get sacked? I thought they got sacked a ton in that last game. I don't remember.
His sack percentage is almost 10% though. So
now that's surprising.
Is fairly high. That puts him top 6 or so. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting stats, but yep. Who do you got tonight's game? It's a barn burner.
I hate tonight's game. Yeah, he got sacked 5 times last week. Tonight I think I'll go Seattle. They've been pretty surprising, honestly. Last 2 games, they've been really good. Of course, Saints aren't any good, but a good win in Pittsburgh. Arizona, They are who they are. They're kind of banged up. Arizona is as well. So you can worry about that a bit. So give me the Seahawks. And I think the game goes over too. I think it was 42 or 43.5. I think it goes over.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks too here. You see, you kind of said it before we got on air. Like they're kind of being under the radar good and not. I wouldn't like sit here and say like, oh, like they're like a low key, contender, but they've played some pretty good games, and I just think they a little bit more of their kind of all overall picture. Run game's good. They got a couple two-headed monster there with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, and then JSN's just a freaking machine as far as getting targets, and Darnold hasn't looked bad, so he's been efficient, I'd say.
Who do you have in the Army East Carolina game tonight?
Oh, totally. I totally have East Carolina there.
Yeah, me too. East Carolina.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
sure. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for us. Can't wait. I gotta get off here, get the podcast posted, and I'm gonna go sit in front of the TV and watch me some Arizona Cardinals. So,
all right.
Can't wait.
I'll be watching Army East Carolina.
All right, how about this? We'll watch our separate games, and we'll just text each other updates. Okay.
I don't know who would be less interested in the updates. You or me?
We'll play. Our real competition here will be who falls asleep first.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Who makes it to halftime? All right, guys. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.